Today, from this moment on, I'm done being your ATM. My voice rang out clearly through the silent living room. My parents, sitting right in front of me, gave a dry, uneasy laugh as if to brush it off as a joke, but there wasn't a trace of humor in my eyes. The whole scene is etched in my memory in slow motion. Everything began on that evening. The moment my years of kindness were trampled as if they meant absolutely nothing. My name is Jenny. I run my own catering company in this city. After years of working without a single break, I finally bought my dream beach house. My sanctuary, built entirely with my own hands, a place no one could take away from me. I wanted to share that joy, above all else, with the family I loved. The only reason I'd worked this hard was because I wanted to make life easier for them one day. I truly believed that with all my heart. So, I planned the perfect housewarming party. I reserved my company's kitchen for 3 full days and nights, preparing all of my family's favorite dishes. For my brother, I made roast prime rib with herbs. For my sister, a special dessert using imported French chocolate she adored. And for my parents, the seafood paella with saffron that once made them smile and say, "We could eat this every day." I carefully packed everything into temperature-controlled cases, and as I drove along the coast, I imagined the surprise on their faces, their laughter, their joy. My heart swelled with warmth. Sunlight streamed through the big living room windows, painting the white tablecloth and polished glasses I'd set with a soft orange glow. The agreed time was 2 p.m. The deck table was set for my beloved family. But as the clock ticked past 2 p.m., then 3 p.m., there was still no sound of a car pulling in. The perfectly roasted beef went cold. The beautiful dessert lost its chill. The dishes sat on the table like abandoned props on a stage without its stars, decaying slowly with the passing time. Worried, I texted the family group chat. "Is everything okay? Did you get lost?" A few minutes later, my sister replied with a short, casual message. "Sorry, something came up." Her flippant tone made my chest tighten. Absent-mindedly, I opened her social media. And then I froze. There it was, a photo posted just minutes earlier. My entire family beaming at a table under a glittering chandelier at the city's most exclusive, impossible-to-book restaurant. My father proudly held up a bottle of fine wine. My mother's eyes glistened with happy tears. Beside my sister sat a man I'd never seen before, wearing a luxury watch, his arm wrapped around her shoulder like he owned her. The caption, sprinkled with sparkling emojis, read, "Meet the new member of the family, a surprise lunch to celebrate my boyfriend's promotion." I felt the blood drain from my body. On the day of my housewarming, the one I, Jenny, poured my entire life into, they'd had more than enough time to get here. Yet not a single phone call, just 3 careless characters. Something came up. A cold, heavy feeling rose from the pit of my stomach. It wasn't simple sadness. It was the crushing emptiness of realizing my goodwill, my feelings, had been kicked aside like a pebble on the street. The dishes I'd plated so beautifully suddenly looked colorless, just piles of food. The dazzling smiles in that photo, the silent room, the cold food before me. The cruel, unbridgeable distance between those two realities felt like a perfect reflection of the distance between my family and me. In the end, no one came to the beach house that day. I sat alone, scooped up a single spoonful of the enormous paella, and swallowed the tasteless bite like sand. I couldn't bring myself to touch the rest. I left everything on the table and closed the bedroom door. I didn't cry. Deep inside, I heard something I'd believed in snap, cleanly and irreversibly. All this time, I'd believed that supporting my family was my joy. When my catering business finally took off, that feeling only grew stronger. When my sister graduated from college and said, "It's so inconvenient to commute without a car," I happily helped with the down payment on a popular model. It's just because she was working hard, and I wanted to support her. Watching her jump up and down at the dealership when she got the keys made me genuinely happy, as if it were my own car. The same was true at my brother's wedding. "You're the best caterer, Jenny. We're counting on you," he'd said, patting my shoulder. "Leave it to me," I'd answered proudly. I asked my staff to work on their days off, offered a lavish buffet free of charge, and didn't care about the cost. Thanksgiving, Christmas, everything I did was for my family's smiles. I just wanted to share my success with them. That was all. They always said, "Family helps each other." I believed those words were beautiful. My success was the family's success. That's why every Thanksgiving turkey, Every Christmas party had always been catered by me. It had never been a duty. It was my way of showing love. But as I stood before that silent dining table and the abandoned feast, I realized the truth. To them, the phrase, family helps each other, had only ever meant, Jenny helps the family. They cared nothing for me as a person, only for what I could provide. The next morning, with an empty feeling in my chest, I began clearing away the cold, untouched dishes. The expensive roast beef, the beautiful desserts, all of it disappeared into black garbage bags. The act felt like a funeral, burying not just the food, but every ounce of kindness and naive hope I'd ever offered them. There was no emotion left in me. My heart was as still as a lake at dawn, eerily quiet. Just then, my phone rang. It was my mother. I thought for a fleeting moment that she might be calling to apologize for the previous night. I took a deep breath and answered, but the voice that burst through the speaker was anything but remorseful. It was bright and cheerful, almost bubbly. Jenny, I'm so sorry about yesterday. It was all so sudden, but guess what? Your sister's boyfriend, Patrick, got a promotion. He's a Wall Street hotshot now. Isn't that amazing? He's got such a bright future ahead of him. Sudden, impossible. The restaurant in that photo is famously the hardest to book in the entire city. It's not the kind of place you casually decide to go to with the whole family on a whim, which could only mean one thing. That celebratory lunch had been planned well in advance. My housewarming dinner had been deliberately, consciously ignored. As the blood drained from my face, my mother continued, oblivious in a chipper tone. So anyway, I wanted to ask you something. The two of them are hoping to get away somewhere for the weekend. Could they use one of the rooms at your beach house? I'm sure Patrick will love your taste. It'll be a nice chance to introduce him properly, too. Something inside my head snapped. My sanctuary for them? After what they'd done? When I didn't respond, her tone shifted slightly, becoming more businesslike, as if moving on to the real agenda. And one more thing. Your father and I were talking. Things have gotten a bit tight with the mortgage payments, so we were wondering if we could use the beach house as collateral to take out a small loan. You know your success was only possible because of our support, right, Jenny? In that instant, something solid and cold, like steel, took root inside my once quiet heart. No, I don't understand at all. Even I was startled by how cold and emotionless my own voice sounded. For a moment, she was at a loss. Huh? Jenny, what did you just say? I didn't catch that. I said I don't understand a single thing you're saying. Not one bit. This time I spoke clearly, deliberately, like shattering ice with each word. My success came from working through sleepless nights, swallowing my pride to win over clients, and building everything alone in the dark. And you call that your support? Don't make me laugh. Who was it that told me starting a business as a woman was too risky? Who warned me over and over, what will you do if you fail? Who was it that, when I called you crying at night because I couldn't make payroll, said, see? I told you to stop chasing childish dreams and get a stable job? Who was that? I don't remember saying that. We were just worried about you. I could practically see my mother's panic through the phone. I cut her off. Worried? Really? Do you want me to read out the list of money I've given over the years? The down payment for my sister's car? The entire cost of my brother's wedding catering? All of it came from my love for this family, from my goodwill. Not because I owed you anything. And how did you repay me? On one of the most important days of my life, you crushed my efforts without so much as a phone call. And the next day, without a single sincere apology, you have the nerve to ask me for more money. Is that what you call family? On the other end of the line, there was only silence. I kept speaking, as if pouring out years of black sludge that had settled in the depths of my heart. I'm done. I'm done being your convenient wallet, your tool to fund your vanity and greed. Wait, Jenny. I heard her voice rising in protest, but I hung up before she could say anything else. Then I walked straight to the living room and sank into the couch. With trembling fingers, I opened my banking app. Every month, I had been sending money to cover my retired parents' gym memberships and lifestyle expenses. I pulled up the automatic transfer settings. There wasn't a shred of hesitation left. With firm resolve, I tapped the Stop Auto Transfer button. There would be no going back. A cold confirmation message appeared on the screen. Are you sure you want to proceed? I pressed yes, without a second's doubt. Each entry in that transfer history was a testament to my goodwill, and now a monument to my foolishness. I had chipped in for my sister's car and helped her find a place to live so she could live comfortably. All those glamorous social media posts of hers were built on the back of my labor. I quietly swiped the close account button, feeling nothing. Not a single drop more of my hard-earned money would go to them. Once everything was done, I opened the family group chat, and I typed a single, simple, decisive sentence. From now on, I will no longer provide any financial support. The moment I hit send, my phone exploded with notifications. It was like striking a massive beehive with a stick. Calls from my father, my mother, my brother, and my sister flooded the screen like a waterfall. The family group chat plunged into chaos. It started with my mother's message. "What do you mean?" Then came my brother's, "Hey, are you serious?" And soon, my father's frantic texts filled the screen one after another. "Hey, there's no money in the account." "What about the Christmas party and Thanksgiving catering?" "Unbelievable, you're the worst." In an instant, my screen was flooded with their messages. I stared at the screen silently, then flipped my phone into airplane mode. A complete silence, as if I'd been cut off from the world, filled the space around me. But it didn't last long. Minutes later, the landline started ringing violently. They must have realized they couldn't reach me on my cell. I didn't pick up. I waited until the voicemail kicked in, and then my mother's hysterical voice blasted through the speaker. "Jenny, what is going on? This must be some kind of mistake. Don't play games with us. Are you abandoning your family?" Then came my father's voice, booming with a fury I'd never heard before. "Pick up the damn phone. We need to talk. This is an order. The money you're earning only exists because we raised you." After a few more messages, a flat, mechanical voice announced, "Your voicemail box is full," and the line went silent. But the assault didn't stop there. Even after the voicemail filled up, they kept calling. The phone would ring for nearly a minute, stop, then start again seconds later. The relentless sound dragged on for hours, like psychological torture, until the house finally fell into true silence. I listened to it all as if it were some distant radio broadcast from a foreign country. My heart was strangely calm. Their voices, the incessant ringing, none of it reached me anymore. It felt as though a thick pane of soundproof glass stood between us. The phrase, "the calm before the storm," crossed my mind. And that premonition was right. The doorbell started ringing wildly, as if the system had broken. I looked at the intercom monitor, and there they were, just as I'd expected. My father's face was flushed with rage. My mother's mascara was streaked from tears. My brother stood with his arms crossed, scowling, and behind them my sister scrolled on her phone, looking bored as if to say, "Hurry up already." They must have sped over here in record time. I didn't open the door. Instead, I spoke calmly through the intercom. "What do you want? I didn't invite you. Go home." "Jenny, open this door." My father shook the doorknob violently, almost to the point of breaking it. "We need to talk. You're out of your mind. Open this door right now." "There's nothing to talk about. I already said everything I needed to in my message." Then my sister, who had been quiet until now, suddenly shoved her face toward the camera. Her expression was twisted with fury and petulance. "I was planning to borrow money from you to go on a trip with Patrick. How could you do this to me out of nowhere? Are you trying to ruin my happiness? All I needed was a little money. This is unbelievable. You're the worst." My mother tried to calm her down, turning toward the camera with the exaggerated pleading of a stage actress. "Please, Jenny, open the door. We're family, aren't we? Let's talk face to face. Please." The moment I heard those words, a quiet, icy anger rose within me. "Family? You skipped my housewarming and came asking for money the very next day? And that's what you call family? Do you have any idea how many years I've supported you all and how much heart I put into it? You've done nothing but sit comfortably on my goodwill." "Sit comfortably?" My father's voice trembled with rage. "Watch your mouth. We're the ones who raised you. You owe us everything. Are you really going to repay our kindness with betrayal?" "Yes, I'm grateful for being raised, but that doesn't give you a lifetime pass to treat me like your ATM." I said it clearly, without wavering. "This ends now. I won't forgive the years of thoughtless behavior you've shown me." "Not forgive us?" My mother cried out like a tragic heroine. "How ungrateful can you be? Don't you see how much we love you?" Love me. If that were true, you wouldn't have ignored one of the most important days of my life. If that were true, you would never have asked me to hand over my dream home to cover your debts. My words silenced them for a moment. I must have hit a nerve. And then, as always, my brother broke the tension. He's always been an expert at avoiding messy situations. Jenny, that's enough. If Mom and Dad apologize, we can put this behind us, right? Come on, let's not blow this out of proportion. Think about the neighbors. I let out a short, bitter laugh. An apology will fix it? You're always like this. You just don't want to get involved as long as it doesn't inconvenience you. But that won't work anymore. This isn't about the neighbors. This is about me, about taking back my life and my dignity. I stared straight into the intercom camera lens as if looking directly into their eyes and repeated the words clearly, this time to their faces. Today, from this moment on, I'm done being your ATM. In the frozen silence at my doorstep, my parents gave a brittle laugh, as if to say, "You're joking, right?" My sister muttered, "I don't get it," in a dismissive tone. But there wasn't the slightest tremor in my voice. "Don't ever come here again. Next time, I won't hesitate to call the police." Those were the last words I spoke to them. I shut off the intercom, exhaled deeply in the quiet living room, sealed off from all outside noise. After they finally left, throwing barbed parting remarks as they went, the house fell into a stillness like the calm after a storm. But the real storm was just beginning. Starting the very next day, my phone began ringing incessantly from unfamiliar numbers, like some kind of curse. They must have realized I'd blocked their numbers and resorted to payphones and disposable cells. I never answered. The voicemails they left grew more intense by the day. At first, it was my mother sobbing, "Please, Jenny, reconsider." Then it turned into venom. "You ungrateful child, I didn't raise you to be like this. How can I ever show my face to the neighbors?" My father bellowed, "You're disowned. Don't ever set foot in this house again. I'll destroy your company." Meanwhile, my sister posted daily on social media attacking me. Because of my cold-hearted sister who values money over family, my life is ruined. Each post was accompanied by a staged selfie with fake tears streaming down her face. Her friends, people who knew nothing, flooded the comments with sympathy and condemnation. What a terrible sister. Unbelievable. Rich people really have no heart. Their words cut into me like invisible knives. Then the line was crossed. A message arrived from an unknown account. "We know where you live. Be ready." That sentence went far beyond a family dispute. A shiver like icy fingers ran down my spine. I was no longer the naive, good person who endured everything in silence. I headed straight to the nearest police station. I submitted everything. The recorded voicemails, screenshots of my sister's posts, and the threatening message. I submitted all of them as evidence, and the police officially accepted my report. The officer who handled my case was calm and firm. "Your safety is our top priority. We'll increase patrols. If anything happens, we'll respond immediately." The police contacted my parents the next day, and it only poured fuel on the fire. My brother sent the longest email he'd ever written. "I understand how you feel, but this is too extreme. Mom and Dad are old now. What were you thinking involving the police? You should be the bigger person and back down. Apologize and fix this before it gets out of hand." The sheer detachment of it, how he thought only of his own peace, filled me not with anger but with pity. None of them tried to understand why I was angry in the first place. They were just children throwing tantrums because the money tree had stopped obeying them. To protect myself in this sanctuary from their growing madness, I began taking systematic, deliberate action. First, I upgraded my home security to something close to military grade. On top of my existing system, I installed multiple high-resolution cameras, linked to infrared sensors for 24-hour surveillance. I deleted every single one of my social media accounts. Anything that could disturb my peace had to be cut out completely. I changed my phone number and gave the new one only to a handful of trusted colleagues and a few close friends from my student days. My world suddenly felt simpler, clearer. And most importantly, I contacted the company's legal counsel. I laid out everything that had happened and handed over all my recorded messages and screenshots as evidence. We prepared thoroughly for any future attempts by my family to make financial demands or challenge the ownership of my beach house. After listening carefully, my lawyer said firmly, "Jenny, you've done nothing wrong. This is legitimate self-defense, protecting your rights. Stand firm, We'll defend you with everything we have. Those words became my greatest source of strength in my lonely battle. Weeks passed, and the flood of messages and calls from my family vanished as if it had all been a bad dream. The decisive blow was a content-certified letter sent through my lawyer, warning, any further contact will be treated as stalking and harassment, and we will immediately pursue a restraining order. They finally understood. I was no longer the convenient, compliant Jenny they once controlled. Months later, life at the beach house had settled into a quiet rhythm again. During a routine call with my attorney to confirm some paperwork, he prefaced, almost casually, that he wanted to update me on my family's current situation. I hadn't asked, but as he explained, he'd been keeping track to avoid any unforeseen legal trouble. What he told me wasn't shocking. It was exactly what I'd expected, but it painted a vivid picture of their lives after me. First, my parents. They had finally been unable to keep up with the mortgage on their own and were forced to let go of the house they'd lived in for decades. My proud father couldn't accept reality, drinking more with each passing day, while my mother begged relatives and old friends for money, playing the part of the poor, abandoned mother for anyone who would listen. But their shallow sympathy act no longer fooled anyone. As for my sister, she'd been dumped without ceremony by Patrick, the supposed Wall Street elite. The moment he realized I was no longer backing her financially, his demeanor turned ice cold. Her once glamorous social media presence disappeared completely. She took on part-time jobs to make ends meet, but couldn't stick with any of them. Her favorite line these days, I was told, is still, "My life is ruined because of my sister." And then there was my brother, the ever-apathetic observer. He had become the primary target of financial demands from my parents and sister, trapped in the crossfire and miserable. He sent me one email, the same tired refrain. If you just apologized, everything would go back to normal. I didn't reply. The peace he longed for was unraveling by his own hands. Even after hearing all of this, my heart remained perfectly still. When I hung up the phone, I exhaled slowly. Their story was unfolding somewhere far away without me, reaching its natural conclusion. That was all. A few days later, my phone rang, an unfamiliar number. Something in my chest stirred uneasily as I hesitated, then slowly pressed answer. Hello, Jenny? It was my mother's frail, trembling voice. For a moment, I stopped breathing, ignoring the legal warning letter to call me. What did she want now? I braced myself for another plea for money, but her words took me by complete surprise. I wanted to apologize. We got the letter from your lawyer, and for the first time, really, just a little, I understood how much we hurt you. We were wrong. We took your kindness for granted. We never saw you as a person in your own right. I'm so sorry. There was no lie in her voice. She probably was truly remorseful, but my heart no longer wavered. Once trust is completely broken, it can never be restored. I accept your apology, but things can never go back to how they were. I'm living my own life now. You and Dad will have to do the same. I ended the call quietly. That was the real goodbye. This house, this view, and this irreplaceable silence. Every bit of it is something I fought for and claimed with my own hands. My life begins anew, here, today.